There were certain players who were always shoo-ins when it came to the England starting lineup or squad under Gareth Southgate, but since Thomas Tuchel took over, certain things seem to have changed. The likes of Jordan Pickford, John Stones, Declan Rice and Harry Kane appear to have retained their place as the spine of the team, but things appear to have changed for everyone else around them, and we're here to talk about that today. These are 7 England stars who have lost their guaranteed spots under Tuchel. We'll start with Jude Bellingham. Ahead of England's game against Serbia, Thomas Tuchel said he was going to play his best 11 despite having already secured qualification for the World Cup, and that involved keeping Morgan Rogers in the 10 because, according to the German, the Aston Villa man had played fantastic for England in that position, so he basically didn't want to change what was working. Under Southgate, Bellingham was always one of the first names on the team sheet and often played as a 10, but now it appears that he'll have to manage coming off the bench, at least until the coach is convinced he can be a starter again. It probably didn't help that he was injured at the beginning of the season, so Tuchel was forced to use other options in his absence, and he has perhaps since got used to those other options. But whatever the reason is, the point is that Bellingham has lost his guaranteed spot in the England 11 right now. Another person who currently doesn't have a guaranteed spot in the starting lineup is Phil Foden. At the last Euros last year, we saw how Southgate did everything to fit Foden into the lineup. He would play him as a left winger or as a 10 just to make sure that Foden always started. But things have now changed under Tuchel. Even with Foden now looking like he's back to his best, he has still lost his guaranteed spot in the starting lineup. It's the same headache with Bellingham. Tuchel just doesn't see any reason to drop Rogers as his 10 yet. However, the coach mentioned that Foden can also be used as an 8 and a false 9, so it seems there's hope for the Man City man to start getting more regular minutes once again. But the German gaffer also made a damning statement saying that Bellingham, Foden and Kane just cannot play together if they keep the structure. What this simply means is that one of these 3 players, who were all guaranteed starters for the most part under Southgate, will likely be on the bench at the World Cup. Speaking of the World Cup, Tuchel said in his pre-match conference that not everyone can go to North America next year. We'll dive deeper into that statement in a second, but if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content. Now, before we get to the World Cup comment, let's talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. To be fair, under Southgate, he wasn't exactly guaranteed a starting spot, with Kyle Walker usually preferred ahead of him, but at least he was always guaranteed a spot in the squad. But under Tuchel, Trent is no longer even guaranteed a spot in the squad. It sounds crazy, but it's the truth. With Tuchel highly favouring the Chelsea captain Reece James and also fancying Jed Spence, to whom he gave his England debut, it's looking really bleak for Trent right now. Obviously, the Real Madrid man has been heavily affected by injuries this season, but even when he returns to full fitness, we still don't think Trent would have a guaranteed spot in the England squad due to a couple reasons. First of all, if he's fit, Reece James will obviously always be Tuchel's #1 right back. Then Spence's versatility could really help his case. The fact that the Spurs man can very easily fill in at right and left back could sway the coach into selecting him for a big competition, because players like this are great in case of injuries or a sudden tactical change. Also, at Real Madrid, when Trent and Carvajal are both fully fit, it's highly unlikely that the Englishman will be starting week in, week out, and as we've seen, that's a very important factor Tuchel looks at when selecting his players. It's the reason he has dropped Miles Lewis-Skelly, and that's the next person on this list. After his hugely successful debut season at Arsenal, Lewis-Skelly earned his first cap for England in March, and after scoring on his debut, becoming the youngest player to do that in the history of English football, it was assumed that he had made the England left-back spot his, or at the very least, he would always be guaranteed a spot in the squad. But with the teenager's minutes at Arsenal having significantly diminished this season, that guaranteed spot seems to have quickly disappeared. Tuchel did not call him up for the World Cup qualifiers in November, and the reason was simply because he wasn't playing enough at his club. This alone creates a huge headache for MLS. Does he try to leave Arsenal in January to get more game time in order to make the World Cup squad, knowing that that might affect his relationship with Arteta and therefore his future at Arsenal? Or does he just stay back and risk losing the chance to represent England at the World Cup? That's a really tough decision to make. Now, to the World Cup comment. While talking about the competition for limited midfield spots, mentioning the likes of Bellingham, Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers and Phil Foden, Tuchel said that there's a chance that not everyone will be taken to the World Cup. What this means is that we're expecting a couple huge snubs when he releases his World Cup squad. Obviously, we cannot say much about Cole Palmer right now as he has been injured, and even apart from that, he was hardly ever guaranteed guaranteed a place in the lineup under Southgate anyway. Now, another player who belongs on this list is Kyle Walker. The former Man City man hasn't been named in any of the previous call-up squads, and we think it's simply because Tuchel doesn't fancy him and how he plays. Some might say it's because he's 35 and no longer plays for a big club, but Jordan Henderson is 35 and no longer plays for a big club, but Tuchel still calls him up. So we think Walker no longer having a guaranteed spot in the England squad is actually down to stylistic differences. Under Southgate, he was the nation's #1 right back, but now it's growing more and more likely that he won't even have a spot at the World Cup, and the same can be said for Luke Shaw. Whenever he was fit, Shaw was always guaranteed a place in Southgate's squad. Heck, he wasn't even fully fit ahead of the 2024 Euros, but Southgate still took him to Germany. That's how undroppable he was in the previous tenure. But under Tuchel, the Man United man seems to have lost those privileges. Shaw has been fit for more than 6 months now and has started every single Premier League game for Man United so far. But Tuchel has not even bothered to call him up even once. With a form like this, Shaw would have been starting every single game under Southgate, but things are very different now. Let us now wrap up with Aaron Ramsdale. In Southgate's final years as England boss, he always used to call up Ramsdale. Even when the goalkeeper lost his starting spot at Arsenal to Raya and was barely playing, he still went to the Euros. But he has now lost that guaranteed spot in the England squad since Tuchel took over, and we saw the biggest evidence of that in the most recent international break. Tuchel initially called up 3 goalkeepers: Jordan Pickford, Dean Henderson and Nick Pope. Now, after Pope withdrew, Tuchel had the opportunity to call Ramsdale to fill that spot, but he decided to go with James Trafford. So at this point, barring a miracle, it's pretty obvious that Ramsdale will not be going to the World Cup. And can you really blame Tuchel? Ramsdale just isn't playing at all. He went from being relegated with Southampton last season for the 3rd time in his career to sitting on Newcastle's bench this season. No surprise Tuchel isn't interested in calling him up to the England squad. Now, are there more players you would say have lost their guaranteed spots in the England lineup or squad under Tuchel? Tell us in the comments. Also, while you're there, tell us which big name you think is most likely to shockingly not be included in the World Cup squad. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye. The world's biggest tournament is coming, and the official FIFA World Cup 26 Try-Under competition ball is here at the Goal 90 shop. Designed for the game's biggest stage, it's built for precision, speed and control. Right now, you can make it yours with 30% off plus free shipping. Don't just watch the World Cup, own a piece of it. Visit goal90.shop today and order now.
Do you want to make money with affiliate marketing? Join the Goal90 Shop affiliate program and start earning today. Get your unique affiliate link and exclusive discount coupon to share with your audience. Every sale made through your link earns you a 10% commission. No limits, just real earnings. Don't miss out. Turn your influence into income now.
The world's biggest tournament is coming, and the official FIFA World Cup 26 Try-Under competition ball is here at the Goal 90 shop. Designed for the game's biggest stage, it's built for precision, speed and control. Right now, you can make it yours with 30% off plus free shipping. Don't just watch the World Cup, own a piece of it. Visit goal90.shop today and order now.